Welcome to this demonstration of installing Nintex. Nintex has three executables, as you'll see here, that you would need to download or have your Nintex partner download for you. Once they're downloaded, you'll see they don't have a version to them, and even if you highlight over, you'll see this file versions 1.0. These are .NET installers, executables, so they have a lot of wizards as part of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to install the workflow component first. And click through, we'll say agree. The Nintex installers are very simple. We don't need a license to install these. We don't need a license to do any type of configuration either. It will do the deployment, and later if we want to utilize any of these features, we'll need the license. That's different from K2 that's actually going to look up all kinds of things about your machine, including your install path, to determine what your license key is going to be. In this case, for both workflow and forms, they allow you to install Nintex Live. There'll be another demo where I'll talk about the extensibility of K2 versus Nintex. And Nintex Live is a big part of how Nintex gets it done, what it needs to get done. It's a very cool architecture of what they've built there. We'll go ahead and say, yep, go ahead and install Nintex Live. This particular step is asking us, do we want to install the solutions now, or do we want to export them and do them manually? In this case, I'm just going to say, yeah, let's go ahead and let this .NET installer actually do the install for me. And so it's going to grab all the resource files and everything out of the actual executable. Everything's packaged in, and so you can just kind of ignore some of these things. But what it's going to do is it's just going to extract the Nintex Live and the solutions out of the executable, and then it's going to deploy them to the SharePoint server. And later, we're in charge of actually doing the configuration in terms of deploying those solutions. And so this process doesn't take too long. Obviously, it's doing some resets here. Just kind of disclaimer, I am doing this as an install over another Nintex that exists. So this could take a little bit longer than it would if none of the solutions existed in the first place. One of the things, since I selected Nintex Live, you'll see that two services are actually going to get created over here in Windows Services. And you'll see there's the Nintex Live workflow queue, and then there's the workflow start service. And so this is a proxy that allows you to be able to make calls outside of your SharePoint farm and allow your on-premises farm to talk to the cloud in multiple different ways. And the other thing here is they introduced a thing called kind of remote start, if you will. But I'm able to start workflows that are on my on-premises farm from outside the network. And so these two guys will poll the Nintex Live service, basically watching for any events that are targeted for this farm, and then send those events down here and then actually execute. So I could start a workflow from my phone somewhere in the world on my on-premises environment. Pretty neat. So this is running through. It's doing the installation of the solutions. So you'll see your Nintex workflow 2013.WSP. And it's going to install 3 or 4 different solutions in here to our SharePoint farm. And obviously, this is just the install process. It's not doing anything in terms of deploying those solutions to any of our web apps. So we'll let this run, and then once it finishes, we'll go ahead and do the forms in the project server one. And so now it's made it all the way through installing everything. And the only thing is this online queue service instance was already installed, so it got updated. So this is okay. This is fine. So we're going to close that. Next thing would be to install the Nintex forms. Similar process. Open it up. Say agree. Click next. Yep, I've already installed Nintex Live. Doesn't really matter. It just says it's going to be upgraded. This is where it would help if they had actually put version numbers on there. And so then it says, alright, do we want, again, similar thing, do we just want this installer to install the solutions, or do we want to do it later? In this case, we'll just let it do its thing. And it's very similar. It's going to go extract the resource files out of the executable, and it's going to deploy the solutions. So we'll let it do that. And so at some point this will finish, and we'll see that it's installed a couple of solutions, installed the services that I had already pointed out. And if this was actually an updated package, it'll do an upgrade, and that's it. So we'll close that, and it'll open up the central admin, but we'll look at that later. And then the next step is if you want to do project server, then, and obviously in SharePoint 2016, project server is actually included. It's not a separate install now, but similar process. It's just a set of solutions, and we'll do the same thing. Install the project server. It's going to run through, do all its detection, and get our solutions in there. Now notice the project server one did not ask us for the Nintex Live install. And after a couple minutes, it is complete, and it's actually gone off and installed the solutions. So we hit close, and that's it. That's the install process for Nintex. And in terms of the actual demo, it's about 6 minutes, but total time was about around 10-15 minutes versus K2 of being in 2+ hours. Now, it would take a little bit longer depending on how many servers you would have in the farm, but I guess that really actually, sorry, the install process is going to be the same no matter what, but the actual deploy, which will be a part of the configuration videos, that can take longer depending on how many servers you have in the farm. So very simple install for Nintex. We like it.